We're back because we're going live with Kelly Cutrara on AM640, and I am just letting you tag along. And of course, if you would like to call into the radio, because that's often a way to do it, you should do that. Absolutely. If you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Chaparro, police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions, and I join radio stations with hosts like Kelly. We do this like every other week. All right. Now we just do a little waiting. We're scheduled for 1 minute from now. So hang out. We shall wait patiently until we're called.
Hi, Sean. How's it going?
It's going. How's it going with you?
Not too bad, thanks. Another lovely hot day in the city.
I'm in air-conditioned comfort at the
Oh,
moment.
God. Come on. Ours is sort of broken. Like, it's either really hot or really cold. We can't get it.
It was not good yesterday, but
No.
today it is good.
Okay, good. Good to hear. Yeah, so we just wrapped up segment here. Just hit a break, so we got just a little over 3 minutes here.
Cool.
Kelly's good to go.
Can you text me, and I'll keep yapping on here, and then if you give me a text through the chat to let me know when we have 30 seconds, we'd be perfect.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Bye.
And there you have it. Just under 3 minutes, and then we'll be on the air after, I guess, the commercial break. And yeah, we had a good live this morning. I'm interested to see what kind of questions we get, what we're going to talk about. I know that we're always talking about cool stuff. Whenever I hang out with Kelly on the air, there's always interesting conversations that come up, whether it be things that are going on in the news or, in many cases, excellent questions from call-ins. And this particular segment, I believe, goes across Ontario. So this is going far and wide. Yeah. And then the day is done. We come back tomorrow to do a live stream starting at 10 o'clock for Friday. Because we celebrate every Friday, because Friday is fun. Ask a Traffic Cop starts at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So don't miss that, because that would be bad. Akela, welcome back. Long time no see since 10 this morning. Should probably hydrate before we go full speed. It's a very noisy water thing. Okay, leaving the lid off. But I am ready to go. Oh, I got a message. Hey, Sean, just waiting for my driving instructor to practice in-car lesson. Wish me luck. Your anonymous friend. Cheers. Good luck to you, anonymous friend, coming in from LinkedIn. Awesome. You know, there's so much. It is awesome having a driving instructor, even as an advanced driving instructor. Police officers, we go out and do stuff and have really cool courses and a track to play on. So I like driving. I like riding. Big Jeff Fresh. On Twitch, no less. I see Joseph Benedictus, who's currently giving a discussion about some editing stuff. He's a TikToker. You should check him out. Talks about food in Canada and the United States. It's so quiet. So many things that I want to do before I get to go home today. It's always like that. We're busy here. A minute left. Cool. Has anyone played with VR? This stuff is neat, and I'm experimenting with some educational content on VR stuff for simulators for police training and fire training and things. Really cool. I'm impressed. I appreciate not listening to the commercials. That's awesome. Thank you. David, which is giving me the heads up that they're in commercial break for sure, for sure. Let's see here. All right. I wonder what they're selling, though. I wonder what commercials are on. Now I'm curious what I'm missing out. Are you a fan of commercials? I find it interesting that if you change channels on the radio, it's commercials on one, very often it's commercials on the other. There's no getting away from commercials. Do they synchronize across channels? Or is it just
All right, it's 12:34 on this Thursday, June 22nd, 24 degrees. The U.S. Coast Guard is reporting they found a debris field where the submersible in that search area where they're looking for that submersible that went down towards the Titanic. Stick around because in under or about 30 minutes time at 1:05, we're going to be talking with a man who's been in a submersible at the Titanic, and actually things didn't go so well. They had a very, very close call and were stuck down there for about 30 minutes. What's it like to be stuck? And what does he think of the news of the debris field? We'll be talking to him. So that should be really interesting. Now, every other Thursday, we have a standing appointment with the TikTok traffic cop, as he likes to refer to himself. He is Constable Sean Shapiro, and this is that Thursday. Welcome to the Kelly Cutrara Show. Great to have you back.
It's always a pleasure to come hang out.
I really do appreciate your time and your expertise. Can we start off on a really sad note? It's with the 2 lanes on the eastbound 401 at Brock Road. They are near Pickering. They're still closed after that tragic and fatal tanker accident yesterday. 2 people are dead. 2 people survived, and I believe police are still looking for them because they got out just in time of their car before it was engulfed by flames. Are we any closer to finding out what happened with that?
Well, that's an Ontario Provincial Police investigation, and I don't know the details of it, but these things can take a while. Not only do they do all kind of reconstructive investigation with specially trained officers, it is a long process, and this is a big scene, so I'm sure they'll be working on this for a while.
How crucial is dash cam footage in a fatal accident like this where vehicles are consumed by fire, Sean?
You know what? Dash cameras are amazing, and I think that everyone should be using them. I have them in my personal vehicles, and it just provides you that real account of what happened. We very often think we know what happened and what we just saw, but when we compare it to the videos, we're often shocked to find out that we missed little things, or big things in some cases. In the old days when everyone stopped to help out, seem to have gone. So very often, even for minor collisions, they're tremendously valuable. And when we have situations where fatalities or fail to remain collisions come into play, either the involved party's camera or a third party's camera is just providing that missing link to allow us to hold the appropriate people accountable. And that's what it's all about.
Give me an example, because I know you have so many interesting stories where a dash cam has really helped out.
Well, we had one many years ago, and where someone was crossing the street in a rainy day, and a person hit that pedestrian, killing them, and fled the scene. Well, we were able to, through dash cam footage, identify the vehicle and eventually locate and arrest the responsible party.
Right. Without that, who knows?
Exactly. That gave us everything we needed to complete, to not only give closure to the family, but to truly hold that person accountable. And without it, it would have just been the missing question mark of what exactly happened.
I want to ask you about something you posted on TikTok not too long ago. It was about motorcycle lane splitting.
Yes.
Last time you were on, you said you were getting ready for motorcycle safety awareness campaign. How did that go? And also, can you talk about what you showed in the video? Because it's mind blowing and it's terrifying.
So we just wrapped it up, and a total of about 5,000 tickets, for actually 4,215 tickets during that week that were issued. And that's not specific to motorcycles. That's to people who were involved in speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. But these are offenses that directly impact motorists like motorcycle riders, and it's all about safety. So, that video was talking about lane splitting in particular, and it showed a motorcycle that was trying to lane split, driving between 2 vehicles occupying their own lanes. The motorcycle ends up making contact with one and then sort of ping-ponging between the two vehicles as it went down. And the rider, it looked like he got up and was able to walk away afterwards. So that's good. But it really showcases how dangerous lane splitting can be. And there's advocates that suggest it's a great thing for safety. I argue that it's not, and it could constitute either careless driving, stunt driving, or dangerous driving, depending on what we're seeing. If it's at high speed, it may even be dangerous driving. If it's low speed, it's just careless and unsafe.
Right. You posted since we're on the topic of stunt driving, you posted an interesting video on your TikTok traffic cop page recently about stunt driving. Walk us through that and what it features.
Well, yesterday we had an officer, part of our Vision Zero enforcement team, who described seeing a vehicle that was traveling so quickly that every other vehicle on the road appeared to not be moving. They measured the speed of that vehicle at traveling at 223 kilometers an hour. They were on the 427 at 27, and they did stop that vehicle. They were able to safely stop that vehicle, and the driver was charged with not only stunt driving, which on its own is a serious offense that comes with a 14-day vehicle impound and a 30-day driver's license suspension roadside immediately, but they also charged them for criminal dangerous driving. They were over double the speed limit and weaving through traffic, and it was just beyond that of a simple speeding. People really seem to downplay the severity of speeding, and this was just one of those outrageous examples. Now, this particular vehicle, it was a Volkswagen. Nothing to look at in terms of...
I was just going to ask you that, a Volkswagen.
Apparently, it was a Volkswagen R, a Golf R, which is maybe an all-wheel drive car capable of some speeds, and it had been modified. It was pushing some high-performance modifications, and they had no catalytic converters. They had a straight pipe going out of the back. So there was a whole bunch of issues surrounding this. But at the end of the day, it was someone who chose to drive in such a way that they put everybody else on the road at risk.
Yeah, what happens to the car?
So right now, the vehicle is impounded for 14 days, and the driver won't be driving for 30. And then the next step is it goes to court. And in court, just for the charge of the stunt driving, the court could see fit to impose a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition, a $2,000 to $10,000 fine, and even impose up to 6 months in jail for that offense alone. The other offenses and the dangerous driving being the even more serious one has a whole other set of possibilities, which include criminal conviction.
Yeah, but I mean, I would imagine, wouldn't you have to take all the modification off the car if it's illegal?
Well, that's a separate situation. In terms of that
Right.
vehicle being permitted to go back on the road afterwards, yeah, that has to be brought back to spec. And I imagine that they would have seized the plates, but I'm not sure if that happened or not. Either way, it's illegal for the road in its current state.
All right. We have time with you through the next segment, which I absolutely love that you're so gracious with your time, Sean. So we're going to open up the phone lines to talk with Constable Sean Shapiro, our TikTok traffic cop, at 416-870-6400. You can also text at 416-870-6400 and 1-888-225-TALK. If you got a question for Sean, then give us a call and we'll let you take the airwaves. That's next on the Kelly Cutrara Show.
Okay. So we're down for a few, and then we'll be back with more. I'm really looking forward to talking about something else I totally forgot to mention earlier, and it's actually something that happened after our live. We, members of our unit, arrested an impaired driver, and it's an interesting story, and I think we'll wait till we're back to chat about it because I think it's pretty heavy duty. And you'll know why when we get to it. In just a moment, in probably 1 or 2 minutes. Do we have a guesstimate as to how much time? Let's see here. Let's see. What's up? Big Jeff Fresh says he's never tried VR, but 3D movies hurt my eyes, so I don't think VR would be different. You know what? I was playing with this headset, and it gets a little wonky. I wear glasses, so I took them off. I can see perfectly inside the unit without glasses. But I get you, and I worry about motions. I did a simulator. It was a roller coaster simulator, and I just envisioned all those TikToks where people are falling over and breaking tables and walls because they're wearing this. So I was very conscious about not moving, despite the fact that everywhere you look, it's totally immersive. Let me know 30 seconds. Okay. All right, we're good. Going in sorry, switching back. It's hard to multitask. In fact, I say that people who think they're great multitaskers are liars because they can't. They're not liars. They're just misinformed. We grew up being told that we were multitasking. That multitasking was what we all do when we're at work. We're doing many tasks at the same time. We're not multitaskers. Our brains switch between tasks, and some of our brains don't do it as well as others. One task at a time. Drive, phone. Driving while on phone, you're dividing your ability, and it just is a recipe for disaster. It's one of the reasons why distracted driving is such a serious issue. But I wanted to talk about the fact that while these 4,215 tickets that were issued during the motorcycle traffic campaign, or the two-wheeled safety campaign, 1,110 speeding tickets, 1,050 aggressive driving, 195 distracted driving. And then there was sort of the bucket of other offenses that made up for almost 2,000, 1,860 tickets. In addition to that, 14 impaired driving arrests. And that's just during the week, like from June 12th to June 18th. If you don't think that's a lot, I think that's a lot. It's certainly more than the zero offenders that we hope for. Just saying. Okay. There's a lot of commercials. I'm assuming because the silence suggests that they're busy with commercials. If you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Cutrara. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media to answer traffic and police questions. Right now, I'm joining Kelly Cutrara on AM640, and we're just in commercial break. We're coming back to hear from her audience. We'll talk about stuff and things, mostly. Here's 30 seconds till we're back, talking about stuff and things, specifically traffic and police questions. So that's what I'm here to do, answer the questions. Okay. What do we have here? Oh, other stuff and things. I got papers. I have a sea of papers. $30 sound feels like a long time, doesn't it? I think it does. That's good.
You're listening to the Kelly Cutrara Show on this Thursday, June 22nd. 24 degrees, feels more like 26. Mix of sun and cloud today. And it is the second day of summer. Welcome to it. Sean Shapiro is our TikTok traffic cop. He is joining the show, as always. Every second Thursday, he does this for us. And he's fielding your calls now at 416-870-6400, 1-888-225-TALK. If you've ever thought to yourself, is that even legal when you've been driving? This is your chance to ask. I want to start off, Sean, with a couple of texts I got, if you don't mind. And one of them talks about lane splitting. And you were earlier on talking about how you had posted a video of why lane splitting is dangerous. And it is a motorcycle with the hard panniers on it, or luggage racks at the side, so a little wider at the back. And he's lane splitting, and one of the cars beside him makes contact with the luggage rack, and he goes down. And it's absolutely terrifying. It's amazing he didn't get crushed. But that's a best case scenario. California laws, according to this texter, allow lane splitting, some parts, no helmets. If implemented slowly here, it could work. What's your answer to that?
You know, I see a lot of people driving, both on and off duty, and there's some scary drivers out there. So I'm not looking forward to any kind of change that would put people at risk and add more confusion to the mix, because we have enough people on their phones already that we're busy trying to catch and not trying to pull them off of bikes that are down. And I'm a motorcycle rider, have been since I was 16. I love it. It's a great way to travel. But it's dangerous, and at least more dangerous in other ways, because you're at risk. You have no cage to protect you. In terms of LA or California, it is legal. But if you go to the California Highway Patrol website, it says it's dangerous and extreme caution should be used. They also talk about maximum speeds and speed differential, how much faster you're going, even using an HOV lane. we have stopped traffic and the HOV lane is open and people travel at high speed, or at least even the speed limit. That 100-kilometer speed differential could be deadly when someone decides to pull out in front of you. And that's where the problems arise. People often use the not being rear-ended in traffic as a motorcyclist. That's the defense for why you should be lane splitting. Problem is you can be crushed or rear-end somebody else as well. There's lots of ways to get hurt. So that's
Sure.
the thing. Lots of places around the world that allow it, and there's some places that seem absolutely lawless on the roads.
Okay, here's another text for the TikTok traffic cop. As a daily commuter,
I lost you. We've gone silent. I don't know if I got lost or if you got lost, but there's no audio. I don't know what happened. As I often say, oh, okay, she dropped. Whew, wasn't me. All right. We're waiting. We're hanging out. Usually it's my fault when there's technology issues, so I'm always relieved when it's anybody other than me. Time for dad jokes, according to Kayla. With my luck, I'll be mid dad joke and we'll be back on the air. If I had a dialogue ready, I could have just kept on speaking and fill the void.
All right, we'll get Kelly back. Remote is awesome. Let's just remind everybody. I'm Jason Chapman. I'm the executive producer of 640 Toronto. And hey, if Sean Shapiro is on the line, I can talk traffic.
Jay,
I can
what's
talk
going
about
on?
the roads, right, Sean?
Absolutely.
I know you guys were talking lane splitting, but I mean, you and I love to talk about all sorts of things, traffic. So I know we've got a couple calls on the line, but Sean, one of the conversations you and I have had off the air, which I'd love to have on the air, is the speed limits that are posted across our roads. Let's just talk about this, all right? Highway 401. What's the speed limit through the city of Toronto on the Highway 401, pal?
100 kilometers an hour unless something changed dramatically overnight.
All right. So let me ask you this. Is that the appropriate speed limit for the 401?
I actually believe it is. There's no reason to go faster, and I don't go faster when I'm traveling on it. So there's a lot of discussion. A lot of people want to go faster. They think that speed limits are unnecessarily slow. And you can argue that all day long. At the end of the day, that is the legal limit. If the government chooses to change it, that's a different story. And there are areas where they've increased the speed limit by 10 kilometers an hour, and in that case, that's fine. We see people traveling at 120, 130, 150, and yesterday we had the 228 kilometers an hour on the 427. There seems to be a willingness to simply ignore the rules.
I guess so. I mean, you and I can go back and forth on this. Here's what I wish. I actually wish that the speed limit on the 401 went up to 115 kilometers an hour, and maybe not through the city of Toronto, but outside of the city, Sean. I actually, you said, I'm not sure why people need to go faster. I think we can go faster because our cars are capable of it. The brakes are better than they were. I just think our cars are better than they were before. And 115 seems like a reasonable rate to travel across a highway built to accommodate speeds, which I think would be even faster.
Well, it was originally faster, and you bring up a really interesting point, and many people discuss this in our TikTok comments, and that is, I've got Bembo brakes, or I've got a high-performance device or a car, and I have all these safety things, but we also have to consider the lowest common denominator. If a vehicle is on the road from 1975, and it's got all the same safety equipment from 1975, it's still safe and meeting the standards. You might have great brakes. The two things have one thing in common, and it's the driver, and they still stink. We are not magical, and very often we are just barely meeting the grade. We could also increase the speed and then increase the standards of drivers, like Germany does, or Ireland, where they have
Yep.
a much higher bar before they're allowed to drive in unregulated.
I think I'd be all in favor of that. Here's the point, Sean, about the 100-kilometer speed limit. It actually feels too slow when I'm going that speed. And that's why I think the natural speed limit on the 401 and all the other major 400 series highways across Ontario seems to be 115 to 120. So if we did raise the speed limit up on all of those highways, and then we did actually enforce the speed limit. So if you go 2 kilometers over the speed limit, you're busted. Speed cameras are everywhere. Do you think that would make the roads safer than they are right now with a posted speed limit of 100 when you've got people going everywhere from 100 to 135? What are your thoughts on that overall idea?
If you were to put, and this is just Sean, the cop with his personal opinion.
Love him.
If you
He's
were
my favorite.
if you were heavily enforcing, whether through electronic means or otherwise, and there was no abuse, then it's very possible that could be safe. The problem is now, regardless of the legal, we have people doing absolutely whatever they want, and aside from traveling above the speed limit, they're being very aggressive about it. I drive the speed limit. I'm far too recognizable to do anything but the
You are a memorable face, Sean. So
yeah,
okay, so no, seriously, come on. You go 100 on the 401 and 90 on the DVP, and
I
on
absolutely
the
do,
Gardner.
and I even set my
Come
cruise control
on.
to it. I record myself doing it, and I often use that content on social media. So I am using my vehicle as the standard, the pace car, if you will. And I'm amazed at the number of vehicles that are passing me. I had an Audi, a two-door Audi, pass me like I wasn't moving yesterday on my way into work. And it's funny. I wish I got a license plate out of it because I would have had a conversation with that driver.
Well, it's a TT driver, clearly. If it was an Audi
it was
two-door
not a
driver,
TT, it
those
was something
TTs,
else.
man.
It was a fancy one.
Yeah, I bet it was. But no, even when you pass somebody, you don't. You're like, I mean, this is all sincere. Let's get really granular. This will be our last question for the segment, and we'll pick it up later again. But when you go to pass somebody, you don't pop up to 100 on the DVP or 110 on the 401.
Well, no, because the only time I'm passing, the only reason to pass someone is if they're going below the speed limit. So I passed someone this morning and they were doing 80. They actually entered the highway fairly slowly, and they were traveling too slowly. They did not come up to the highway speed when they entered, and highway speed was the speed limit in my case. I passed them. I went back into the right lane, and that's where you should be. If you're traveling the speed limit, you're not actively passing. Truly, nobody should be going over, but based on the fact that people are going over, you're traveling the speed limit. You're moving slower than everybody else. Stay to the right. And I do that. It's funny. It feels awkward until you just recognize the fact that it's fast enough, and you have all this extra time to react to things up in front of you. When I watch the videos, and if you go on my TikTok, you'll see it. Everyone's hammering their brakes, constantly changing their speed. I never touch my brakes from the time I get on the highway till I get off on Lakeshore to come to the station. It's amazing.
Right.
It's
I want to
calm.
make a deal with you. I want to do this ride along. I want to do it in the next 2 weeks, and I want to report on this because I want to see what it feels like. Sean, we're out of time. Thanks for rolling with the punches. Kelly Cutrara is going to plug back in the microphone that got loose, and she's going to be back, but she's looking forward to talking to you again in 2 weeks.
We'll see you then.
Sounds good, buddy. All right. You're listening to 640 Toronto. You're listening to 900 CHML. And
That was interesting. It was interesting, and he's a cool guy. If you haven't seen, he did a video recently. What was his video of? He was riding his bicycle and he was recording a couple of things. But he's a great guy, and I'm glad he popped in because now I can phone him and we can laugh about what just happened. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you join me. We'll see you at 10 o'clock. Yeah, that's the time for Friday. Bring your traffic and police questions so we can talk about stuff and things. Have a great day.